Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome. My name is Nader Talai, and I'm the presenter for today's webinar, which is Who Else Wants to Reduce Their Time to Market by Over 50%? Sounds unbelievable, I know, but let's go through it and we'll see. Before we kick off, just a reminder that this webinar is recorded and the recordings will be available after. Please ask questions that you have through the Q&A feature on Zoom. Just making sure. Okay. So today's agenda, we're going to go through the case study, if you like, the customer story that I will tell as a story, and we'll meet Jane, the key character in this story. We'll see what she achieved. We'll see and have a look at the plan that was for her. And then we look at the guide, basically being us, me, and the rest of the Value Glide team. And of course, time for questions and answers. If you've got any questions as we go through, please just post them and we'll address them. If it's a burning question, we'll raise it. Beshma will raise it to me and I'll answer it. Otherwise, we'll cover it then. And for next webinar, please tell us what you would like us to cover for the next webinar. Think about it and let us know. We would love to have your ideas about what the next webinar should be. So let's meet Jane. So I'm going to share the story of a recent engagement. Jane is a successful product manager who wants to help her organization to thrive in the digital age. Jane and her team have got some brilliant ideas about new products that they want to bring to the market. In particular, there is a product that they have proven through their hypotheses through rapid prototyping, and they've got great customer feedback from the prototypes. Now, they want to get the initial product to the customers, and they have a challenge. Their challenge is that it takes a long time for them to launch a product or get a product out to the market. So Jane contacted Value Glide, got in touch with us, and I was the guide that was primarily working with Jane. So we went through and come up with a plan to help Jane accelerate the product delivery and get her products to the market faster. What the plan was started with just a 2-day investment for Jane to invest in 2 days for her team, her leadership team, to study the work. Jane accepted to invest in this 2-day event. So, and following that, she also and her team bought into the plan, and we came up with a plan for them to carry out and accelerate the delivery, product delivery for her team and her organization. So what did they achieve? So once Jane and her team implemented the plan guided by us, this is what they achieved. They reduced the time to market by over 50%. The quality significantly improved. They measured the quality as number of escape defects in each release, and for this product, it was down to 0. And previously they had 20 or more. Staff morale was up by 36%. The staff were happier and they were not overburdened trying to multitask and have too much work in progress. So overall, great achievement. So I know what you're thinking. So that sounds too good to be true. And how did you achieve it? So what was the plan? So like any good plan, first of all, we had to agree on why was the change needed? Why should we change? So the 2 day immersion was a 2 day intervention for Jane and her leadership team to study and learn how is the way that they're working leading to the results that they are observing. So, in other words, it was for her and her team to go and study the work guided by us so that they find out, the results that they're getting is just as a function of this, the way that their system of work is designed and managed. So they were surprised. Some of the surprises were some of these words that we heard come out. This is not what I prioritized. How come you're working on this? Wow, there's too much work in progress in here. Of course, they didn't use the word too much in work in progress, but they could see that there are lots of work that we started, not many things finishing. The teams were very, very busy. Everybody was working hard and long hours, but we weren't getting the solutions or the products out to the market. So we had to think about how they go about the change. So the team, once they understood the way that they were working was leading to these kind of problems, then making the change was a bit easier. So the first step was we agreed on the problem that needs solving. So the problem was time to market was too long, and we needed to accelerate that. And then we could see some of the other, if you like, contributing factors that were leading to the outcome, which was the time to market was slow, was things like they had too much work in progress. Work was not aligned with the strategy. Comments like, I did not prioritize this, is sort of were indicators of that. And there were too many priority rules. So the team was working on one thing, and then they would get a different priority coming from another manager, leader, and there was no clarity on exactly what were the priorities and how they aligned with the organization's mission. So we agreed then the solution to be a quick start art launch. And we went through, okay, how do we redesign the work or the way we are organizing ourselves around the work so that we are value aligned and we can get work out to the market, minimize the delays and the handoffs, and organize ourselves better around value delivery. So this is the plan that we went through, a 6-step process, if you like, about how do we go about launching an agile release train and getting to the market faster. So you can see the steps here. So it always starts, the key starting position is what is the problem we're trying to solve? Let's agree on the problem we're trying to solve. What are the goals we hope to achieve as a result of this agile release train? How are we going to measure our success? How do we know what it is? What is the product vision? What are we going to build? Do we know? I mean, in this case, we were actually very lucky because Jane and her team had already done lots of prototypes that proved their hypotheses. And we went in there and we checked that there was, there wasn't too much selection bias. In other words, they were not just picking the one good result and ignoring everything else. They've done pretty good work over there. So the hypotheses had been proven as much as you can prove it through prototypes and customer engagement and feedback. So we were good to go, but we still needed to build. So the vision was there. We knew what the product was, but we still needed to work and sort of define the features. What are the features, and socialize those, write them, and then be ready to go and plan and start delivering against that. Then of course you cannot expect people to start to work in a new ways of working without first training them on what it is they got to do, because it's fundamentally unfair. So we train the people so everybody knows what their roles are in this new ways of working. Then we launch the agile release train, coach them through the execution, make sure that we are laying the foundations for ongoing success and we can deliver results. So this is a bit more detail about what the quick start art launch will look like. So some deliverables that you can see, basically training, making sure that everybody is trained. We've got the leading safe training to make sure that the agile release train leadership is trained, understands what safe is and what's their role as a lean agile leader. What does it mean to lead by example? It means they need to have that mindset and understand what the values and the principles are and make sure that their actions and behaviors are aligned with those. Then is about making sure that the product owner and product managers are trained. They know that their role, they are the ones who are going to come up with the product vision and the features, working with the teams. Of course, they're not working in isolation, but they need to know what their role is. And the scrum masters, the same. And of course, safe for teams, for everybody in the agile release train to be trained together. And then one of the key steps that is the value stream and agile release train identification workshop, which is about understanding what are the value streams that we have and what are the development value streams that are, if you like, how we develop, define, build, develop, deploy, and release the solutions that help our customers. What are they? And how do we align ourselves so that we are minimizing the delays and the handoffs? We touch a little bit more about this workshop in coming slides, but this is just to give you a high level view of what it is. Now, product vision and product feature, the content is a key. You know, we need to prepare the content. We need to know what it is we are doing and what it, first of all, of course, we need to understand the customer need or the unmet customer needs. Then we have a hypothesis, we form a hypothesis around that. We test our hypothesis, which Jane had already done. And then we say, okay, what are the features that we need to do in order to get this product, or at least the initial, the minimum viable product, if you like, out of the door, to make sure that the customers are happy and we have understood their needs properly. Of course, we need to make sure that everybody knows what the events are and what are their responsibilities, when do they happen, who needs to be where, when, and all of that needs to be done in advance so there are no surprises. We get ready for our PI planning, which is a 2-day event, which we agree on, okay, what is it we're going to achieve within the next period? And for that to happen, we need to have our content ready. And that's why we spend a bit of time making sure the content is ready. The teams know how to write features. The teams know what stories are and how to write them, how to refine the features into stories. And we're now ready for our PI planning. We launched the train, we coached the train through its execution, and of course our inspect and adapt event, which is we look at system-wide issues that are affecting our agile release train, come up with the improvement actions, and carry out those improvement actions in the upcoming PI. So what are the outcomes that we could achieve, or we expect to achieve as a result of a safe quick art launch? We will have value stream aligned agile release trains. Now, value stream aligned agile release trains, what does that mean? It means that we have organized our teams around value delivery, meaning that we have eliminated or minimized the dependencies and the handoffs. So the flow of work would be much faster. The quality would be a lot better because we're going to build quality in. And of course, we're going to train the people who work in the agile release train so they know what it is they need to do. And of course, the other outcome is that we deliver the PI objectives. So we deliver most of what we say we're going to do. So we plan to do something, and then we obviously iterate and through iterations, and we deliver the outcomes that are based on our plan. So I said we will cover a little bit more. So one of the key events or one of the key workshops is the value stream and agile release train identification. The purpose of this is to identify both the operational value stream and the development value stream. So in SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, we differentiate between the operational value stream, which is, if you like, how the organization gets money or earns money. So the series of steps that a customer will need to go through in order to fulfill a need that they have. And then development value streams are a series of steps that we need to go through in order to build, enhance, improve, replace the solutions that power that operational value stream. So we identify both, and then but it is the development value streams that we're going to be focused on. So we look at the development value stream, we understand the people who work in there, where are they geographically and physically, where they are, what sort of skills do they have, and that allows us to sort of say, okay, this is the development value stream that we have, and these are the people who work and power the solutions that deliver these in this operation, in this development value stream. We are not designing the agile release train at this stage yet, but we've identified the people and the solutions, and then we will, from there, we form whether we need one or more agile release train, and who are the people who need to be in the relevant agile release trains. This workshop is about 1 or 2 days workshop. It may be a bit longer depending on availability of people and the time zone differences, but is about 1 or 2 days should mostly work. Content preparation. There is a lot we can do while the agile release train is in flight, but we cannot prepare the content while we are in flight, because we need to know what it is that we're going to be working on. We need to have agreement on that these are the right things to be working on. They're aligned with the organization strategy, and we have got the right group of people working together to define the features that we need for the product. We've understood the customer needs, and these features, as far as we know, our feature hypotheses are aligned with the customer needs. So we need to create those, socialize it with the teams, and be ready for our PI planning. Another thing that I'm just bringing out here, another key thing that we need to have is to have measures that we need to both assess right at the front and throughout, because otherwise, how would we know whether we've made any difference? Then it will just be somebody's opinion or judgment. So we define the measures, we take the measures both at the start and during and ongoing, so the organization knows how they're improving, or whether the actions they're taking, the interventions that they're carrying out, are leading to where they want to go. So competency measures. So in SAFe version 5, there are 7 competencies that we are defined. And these are, as you can see here, team and technical agility, agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, lean portfolio management, organizational agility, continuous learning culture, lean agile leadership. Do you need to have all of these to achieve business agility? Yes. Do you need to have all of these competencies to start with? No. So it's really about knowing where you are right now. The first assessment is about where you are right now, and it's always good to know where we are and then improve from there. The outcome, or outcomes, I should say, is what is it that we are after? What do we want to achieve as a business? So this could be, in Jane's case, obviously, it was faster time to market. She had a product vision, and that she believed will meet the customer needs. So yes, getting it to the market, and also getting the benefits that solution was going to bring to the organization and to the customers. So that's the business goals. What about flow? So we need to know how long it takes for us to deliver a feature or a story or whatever the work item happens to be. We need to know the flow distribution. What are the different types of work that we're doing? Is the work balanced? Are we too much focused on just features and we're forgetting about technical debt? Have we forgotten about investing in the architecture? So that's what the flow distribution tells us. Have we got a balanced set of work items? The flow rate is the rate at which we're delivering work per different types of work items. So how many stories we're delivering per week, how many features we're doing per month, how many technical debt stories we're doing per week, all those kind of things. How many enablers we're doing. Flow load is another term for work in progress. So basically is how many types of work have we got in flight at a given period of time. Flow predictability is our agile release train predictability measure, which is from the PI objectives that we set, what percentage do we achieve? And we are looking somewhere between 80% to 100%. That's what we're looking, anywhere around between 80 to 100%. We say we're in the predictable zone. And flow quality is about the quality of work that we are delivering. Are we have we got built-in quality? Are we finding defects later on? Have we getting escape defects into productions? Are our customers phoning up and say, how do I do this? Are the calls to our call center increasing? Those are all about quality. And having this set of measures allows us to do a couple of things. First of all, we have a good understanding of where we are, and then we can see how the interventions will take us, where they will take us. So as far as Jane is concerned, what we were doing, so business goals were clear, so we knew what the business goals were. And they studied, a 2-day study that they did was all about the flow measures. So they looked at the flow measures. We did not touch competencies at this stage. It was not required. But they spent time, so we designed some activities for them to go and discover it as leaders for themselves, to discover the flow measures for their team. So what does it take for the Quick Start Art launch? What is your investment in? What are people that you need to provide? What are people that we need to provide? And what you can see is that you need to have the leadership team needs to be dedicated. That, what do I mean by that? You cannot just come in the beginning and say, yes, I give my blessing to this. This is really good. We spend the 2 days. I want you guys to carry on doing it, and I'll come at the end and tell me what's happening. That's not how it's going to work. The leadership needs to be engaged. They're going to be part of this learning journey. They're going to be leading by example. They're going to show through their actions how they expect the rest of the team to be doing, and what are the learning that they are going through, and how they're going to support the others to go through the same learning. We need to have dedicated product owners, scrum masters for each team, and we need to have dedicated team members. We do not want to share team members with other teams or other agile release trains, nor do we want to do that for product owners or scrum masters. We need to have a product manager who understands the customer needs, has the product vision, and can get and excite people to form behind that vision and want to deliver that product vision, which should have a good purpose. Our business owners are the people who primarily stakeholders of the Agile Release Train. They have vested interest in knowing that we are delivering the results that will enable our business to grow. And the agile, sort of the release train engineer is also going to be somebody who's going to, if you like, is the scrum master of the scrum masters, or the scrum master for the agile release train, the servant leader and the coach for the agile release train. And what you should expect us to bring to the party is that we will bring our SAVE program consultants, 2 of them or more, depending on the size and what we're doing, at least 2. We will have a SAVE program consultant trainer, SBCT, there advising and guiding us as much as needed. And we can provide other interim team members if you need to do that. You may not have a release train engineer to start with, so you may want, but you may have a candidate in mind. So we can work together, and the aim of our engagement is to transfer knowledge to your team and for us to move on, and it's not for us to create dependency with you and the other roles that you can see over there. So what would that be? So this engagement, the Quick Start Art launch, is a 20 weeks engagement. So basically we use the framework to launch the framework or launch the Agile Release Train. We do 2 PIs, program increments of 10 weeks each, 10 weeks to get ready, make sure the content is ready, the business context is clear, any facilities, team spaces, tooling, all of that is done. Diaries are all set up, events are known and scheduled. And then we actually launch the Agile release train, and then we will be guiding and coaching them for the next 10 weeks, finishing with so starting with a PI planning and every iteration, the iteration events, and obviously finishing with the PI system demo and the inspect and adapt workshop. So we go through that, and that's what we do. And what happens next in your organization? Well, you may want to carry on and do another PI, and you may be able to do that on your own. You may want to have support. You may want to launch new, more agile release trains. You may want to extend to lean portfolio management. All of those are options that are very much context sensitive, and it will be your plan rather than just this plan. So if you want to get your free 6-step plan to accelerate your time to market, you can get the link, and I think Reshma is now going to put the link in the chat for you. So if you want to get the link in there, it's this very short form. Just fill in the form and we will provide you with that free plan. I give you a few seconds just in case you want to click on that link before we go on. So I'm pretty sure those of you who wanted to have got it. So the guide in this particular case was Value Glide. It was me and a couple of my colleagues from Value Glide. So who are we? Basically, we enable organizations who want to thrive in the digital age and accelerate their digital journey with SAFE. That's what we do. We are headquarters in the UK and serve our global clients with teams in the US, UK, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and India. We have, as you can see, we are an experienced guide. We have trained over 2,000 people. We've launched more than 45 Agile release trains, and we provide coaching, consulting, and training to enable organizations to accelerate their digitization journey. Thriving in the digital age is not about technology, it's about people. So we need to support those people, and we need to have people who build innovative solutions, understand the customer needs, and serve them. They're aligned and working in value streams, and they are practicing modern ways of working daily. We have some of the best or most experienced consultants in the world working with us. So just to remind us from what Jane achieved. So Jane and her team managed to reduce their time to market by over 50%. They improved their quality, significantly improved their quality. In actual fact, escape defects went down to 0 for this product, whereas before it was 20 plus. And their staff morale went up by 36% from being overburdened and stressed to being low stress and being happy about work. So this one, I think Reshma has already shared the link for you. It's in the chat. So if you need to, you can go in there and fill in the form. Any questions in here? So let's give you a few minutes to see whether there are any questions that you want to ask, and we will answer those questions as they come in. We'll give you 30 seconds or so before we start to go through questions that may have come in. Do we have any questions, Reshma?
Yes, Nader, we do have questions. So the first question is, how long did the example take?
The example for Jane, we started to see results coming in from about 6 weeks. but in total, it took just over 3 months where her team was fully functional, and then they they were extending it to another agile release train, and we helped the other agile release train with their launch.
Okay. And how big was the team?
Their team was 75 people.
Okay. Okay, there is another question. So, who do you need in the value stream and art, that is agile release train identification workshop?
Who do we need?
Yeah. Who
Oh,
do you need? Yeah.
okay. Yes, this is as I mentioned in the slides, obviously an important workshop. So the trick here, the challenge here is that we want to have a small enough team, around 15 people, but we need to have people who ultimately know who are the people who are working in the development value streams. In other words, what the solutions, what are the solutions, what skills do they have, where they are located. So we don't want somebody who high level knows it. We need to know the detail, but we don't need to have an army of people attending the workshop either. So this is one of those that typically when we do these, we have 2 or 3 pre-workshop meetings to make sure that people understand what kind of information we need from them. And then we go through a series of, oh, okay, so we need this person, that person, that person. And the workshop, the list becomes 50 people to say, okay, now trim it down. So, and that's what we need to do. So we need to have people. So just to answer your question a bit better, then we need people who understand the operational value stream. In other words, they know what are the steps that a customer needs to go in order to fulfill their needs. We need to know what are the solutions that enable that operational value stream to perform its job. So that could be that we have channels, for example. It could be our customer relationship. It could be onboarding systems. Whatever it is we have, those are the systems that allow the customer to do what they need to do, fulfill the need they have. And then we need to understand the technology side of things. What are the solutions? How do they interact? Who are the people that are sort of defining, building, deploying, running, improving, or even sunsetting those solutions? Who are they? Where are they? So that's what we need in that workshop.
Okay. So, have you done this online? Like, can it be done online, or have you done this online?
Yes, we have done this online. In actual fact, the past 2 years, that's the only way we have worked. We've done it online. It takes a little bit longer. We need to do a few more pre-workshop meetings to make sure that people they know exactly what it is we're going to do. And typically we have 2 facilitators for that workshop as well. We have done it and we will do it. One of the key things that we have to remind people when we go through this workshop is that when we are identifying the people who work in the development value stream, this is not about the agile release train. And we've had it a couple of times where customers jump to the conclusion that, oh, that means this is art. And we have to guide people that that's not what we're doing. This is just identifying the value stream, development value stream, and who are the people who are working in it. Are there any questions, or are we?
That's it. That's the questions we have received.
Okay, thank you for that. So the next webinar, as I mentioned earlier on, we would love you to tell us what you want the next webinar to be. Probably the easiest way to do this, please follow us, follow Value Glide on LinkedIn, and send us a message through LinkedIn. You can obviously email us and reach us in other ways, but LinkedIn is an easy way for us to do that. So if there are no further questions, that brings us to the end of this webinar. Any other questions that have come in? Reshma, any questions?
No questions.
No further questions?
No further questions.
Well, All that is left from me is to thank you for attending and thank Reshma for being the host and doing all the work that we need to do in order to get these webinars out there. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.